back, fellow tree dwellers and people who are yet to subscribe, which you should do that, by the way, to another episode of Talking Tactical. I think tonight's going to be a good one, and you guys should get excited because I'm bringing some of them back. But before we get into that, we're going to get through to our tertiaries like we normally do. So, 909 subscribers. Holding steady there for a bit. So, let's continue to share and grow, guys, and hit that next goal of 1,000 subscribers, where we will do an unboxing comparing the difference of an independent mystery box from an independent retailer to a big box retailer, essentially. We're going to do that at 1,000 subs. So, let's get there, everybody. Let's keep going. On top of that, guys, like always, there's a pinned comment down below. Join the Discord. That's where you can get your Squirrely Nuts Airsoft merch, patches, roadkill rags, custom tie-dye schmugs. Ooh, excuse me. And, support the channel that way. And also, over there in the Discord, you're going to hang out with other weirdos like me, talk airsoft, video game, movie, nerdery goodness. I do movie watch parties over there. The next one is coming up on Halloween. I'm canceling other plans to do this one now, but it's going to be a double feature. So join the Discord. Stay informed. Come join me for the next watch party on Halloween and whatnot. Young one, Lady Emery Draven, good to see you guys. Good to see you. Ghost, good to see you as well. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. Make sure you are all smashing that like button, of course, on your way in. Now, there are no events coming up that I am going to offer my support towards. So, in lieu of that, I'm just going to say, search your local event promoters, find one, pick one, and go. There's a bunch of them coming up. I don't keep a laundry list of them. Random Guy Kev usually has a really good schedule if you go check him out on Instagram. And, whatnots. Support the airsoft community. Like always, everybody, the suppression is real. So the biggest thing you can do right now is, instead of doing the fanboy thing and just sticking with one, like them all, as long as they are good taste videos, not airsoft cheating, people getting hurt, none of the bad faith stuff. Good faith airsoft channels and airsoft retailers, support them all, everybody. Let's beat the suppression, get airsoft back to glory, and that way we can all grow this community and be better. I think that's going to wrap it up for the tertiaries, everybody. I don't think I have any other news or updates for you. No. Let me think. Thinking. This kind of hurts. It's too much thinking. No, I don't have any. I do have. So, any of you who are regulars on the channel and know of the potential plans I have for like other airsoft kits and whatnot, I wanted to show you guys a sneak preview of what I'm working on next. So I have a green kit. I have a tan multicam kit. Essentially, I prefer coyote brown with multicam. It just looks better. That's just me. But anyway, I'm also now working on building a black kit. I'm still up in the air on this, but I think I'm going to land with multicam black pants with a black top. And this is the plate carrier to go for it. Yep. Y'all know that. That is the old school. This is the OG, original, awesome Punisher logo. I am doing a Punisher kit with my black loadout. This is it. This thing is so new, it still has the tag on it. This is a Lancer Tactical plate carrier. It's got the buckle up so you can change out, buckle up, change out placard system. I already have one of these in OD green that I've been using. Man, that was my first plate carrier, actually. But I've been using forever. And it's super awesome. I think this was only like 46 to $50. It's a 1000D nylon. It's really tough. It holds up well. Highly recommend this plate carrier if you're looking for one. And plus, with the buckle up placard system, you can just change stuff out of the fly. It's very modular. I've done stuff to my other plate carrier and modified it and whatnot. I'm sure I'm going to do the same thing with this, but this is the start of the Punisher loadout. I'm excited for this to get done. It's going to take me a bit, but this is going to be awesome when I'm all finished. That was the last of the tertiaries. But yeah, and mad respect to myself for sticking with the OG Punisher skull. Don't mind the new one. Don't mind it at all. But if you're going to rock Punisher stuff, it's got to be this one. The straight tooth, the no hook jaw thing. Yeah, just play simple. As Ghost says, so pretty. But anyway, yeah, I wanted to share that with you guys. It's awesome. Yeah, I just like the cleanness of the OG Punisher skull. It just flows better. No, I'm not gonna do the. Some of you who do know OG Punisher know that that goes with his old black and white loadout, where even his belt is white. No, I'm not gonna white accent mag pouches. None of that. Nope. No. We're staying subdued. Just so you know, we don't what? I don't. Okay, that's very vague. But anyway, moving on past tertiary. Past tertiaries. Excuse me. Blah 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 blah. Lost train of thought for a second. Cutter is here at the haunted house. It says hello. Hello, Cutter. But speaking of Cutter, as getting into this, let's get into tonight's topic. The Council of Airsoft Dudes is returning. I am bringing it back finally. I'm cracking out of my shell of what I've been in for a while. I'm making things happen. So, Council of Airsoft Dudes is returning. I have reached out to my co-host Cutter. Yeah, I haven't heard back. I hope you got the message in time. But you guys got a couple weeks to go. We're going to do it on Wednesday, the 29th of October, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, like normal, everybody. I hopefully my co-host shall be there. I'm sure he will be. But also, with this being said, I'm going to give out the topic for this episode. And like always, join the Discord. Reach out to me if you want to be a part of this, and we will put your name down on the schedule board to be on the council and expect you to be there to join us in this next discussion that the Council of Airsoft Dudes is going to have. We have discussed this before in other councils. We've discussed this in other episodes of Talking Tactical, but the topic for this episode coming up will be: should there be a standardized rule set across the board for airsoft? Now, we're going to limit this to the U.S. Because if we do it global, it's going to get complicated. But we're going to limit this to the U.S. And Cutter and I have discussed this a few different times, and we're going to sit down and do bullet-pointed what we would think if there was a standardized airsoft rule set across the board used by everybody in every state for game modes. Basically, it's going to be the bare bones bullet points, the basic stuff, because if we got into every single thing, it's going to get complicated and really long-winded. And it's going to be essentially down the split, indoor, outdoor, and run down the line. I've also noticed that random guy Kev mentioned on Instagram something about should there be a standard across the board Joule or FPS. This will be included in that. Multifaceted question there, buddy. Yes, of course. But Cutter and I have spoke about this a couple different times, and we have an idea for what would be a fair, valid rule set across the board. Now, a lot of people would say, but insurance from state to state has different rules. Yes, I am thinking of that when thinking of this as well. It kind of sucks, but it would make it work sweeping across the board. Just because I don't mind having to deal with different rules at different fields. It is what it is. But I think the vast majority would like one base standard and be done with it. And now, also in this topic, keep in mind, everybody, keep in mind, Just keep it in the US. Also, keep it to just general open play. I'm not going to dive into special events because, again, they're special events. Milsims are a different thing altogether. I honestly think the difference between open play and milsim is drastically different, or competition style play, tournament style play, obviously. So this base rule set would be across the board, just like on open play, standard indoor outdoor. So just standard rules, and this would just be for like your home fields and whatnots and all that jazz. So if you want to be a part of this episode of the Council of Airsoft Dudes, make sure that you click on the link in the pinned comment down below or in the description of the video. Hit me up on Discord. Let me know. We'll pencil you in. And you will be on the episode of the Council of Airsoft Dudes. We will meet 10 to 15 minutes before the show starts in Discord, set you through the base rules on how it goes, and then we get off and going. I'm going to say right now, it's going to be obviously myself and my co-host, Cutter, from Cutter Airsoft. So I got space for 4 other seats. 4 other seats to join the Council of Airsoft Dudes on this one. So we're going to have a maximum of 6 people on this council to get that rolling. And we all know in the last few episodes of the Council of Airsoft Dudes that we've had, they've gone a little longer. So we'll keep in tradition. If it goes longer than the hour and a half I usually allot for those, then fine. It is what it is. Sometimes the discussions get a little bit long-winded. And with 6 people, we want to get through them in kind of a relative quick order. And with this one, it's going to probably run a little bit longer. But with Ghost, as Shadow Ghost in the comments down below, I see said, multifaceted question there, buddy. I want to hear everybody in the chat. Go ahead. Let me know your thoughts and opinions. Let's get a small discussion tonight about it. Maybe, an idea you think of a rule that would be across the board that should be in there might end up in there. I mean, I will take all suggestions, questions, ideas, anything like that. Let's start the discussion now, because I think across the board in Airsoft, and you can just say further beyond of just picking the difference between FPS and Joule for rating system for your Airsoft replicas. I think it is a good idea to have a standardized rule set, personally. But that's just from my opinion, because it just makes it easy across the board, because a lot of airsofters travel from state to state to try out different fields, to do different stuff. And I can say I have heard criticisms and complaints on, both sides of differences in rule sets based on either field layouts or just because of how they're used to playing airsoft somewhere else. But if any of y'all have any suggestions, questions, comments, concerns on this subject, please let me know in the chat. Fire them off. We can get this going now. And maybe this spreads into a bigger conversation across the airsoft world, which I would love to hear this. Because already, like I said, Random Guy Kev asked about, the FPS to Joule thing. And I read through the comments on Instagram, and it was pretty just a lot of really interesting opinions on just why it should be one over the other, but most of them decrying why it doesn't matter, which it does actually matter. A lot of that also made me think, do people actually know the difference between FPS and Joule? Because there is a difference between the measurements. Which I'll explain the short, simple way. FPS is the velocity, the speed that the BB is traveling out of the replica. Joule is the force it is traveling out of the replica. That is the base simple difference. There's a lot of other sciencey stuff that goes along with that, but anyway, most of this episode tonight was us pretty much bringing that up. Okay, hold on. What do we got? Okay, so a rule across the board. Tourniquets in game. Sorry, it does help game. There's a side of me that goes ghost. Yeah, okay, Shadow Ghost. Let me reiterate what he just said in the chat out loud enough so everybody can actually hear me clearly. Okay, so rule across the board. Tourniquets in game. Sorry, it does help gameplay. Yes and no. I do and disagree with this. For certain game modes, yes. But we're talking more of on an open play style, you're going to have different game modes throughout. And some of those game modes would actually require a return to spawn moment instead of being meted. I do get where tournaments helping gameplay out, but I believe that would be only in instances of certain game modes where meting somebody is an option. If you understand what I mean. I think that is a variant rule that can be in place for certain game modes, which would I mean, yeah, fields have bans anyway for colors and stuff. What is it? What is another little and they would sell tourniquets as is. So that's just another mode of making money. So yeah, no, okay. Acceptable, but still only limited to game modes. I had to think about that for a second before I continued. I mean, it is a good extra way of like pushing sales in the stores, but yeah, only certain game modes I think tourniquets would be required. Because personally, in a team deathmatch scenario, the walk back to spawn is important. Lull, especially if somebody's capitalized. Like at least in team death matches that I've played, I feel like the walk back to spawn is just part of it. It's essential to that game mode. I think that's where I think longer game modes, um, like domination, um, conquest stuff like that. Tourniquets, yes. Tourniquets, yes. But I think it would be for the sake of speeding up game modes, it's you get one tourney and then you have to walk back to spawn. But across the board in every game mode, no. Okay, yeah, gameplay depending, but anything where you can be med, then yes. Yeah, 100% agree with that, Ghost. Yeah, it would be locked to different game modes, but you know, for that, yeah, absolutely. I agree wholeheartedly. I think tourniquets in now some now this is getting into the milsim territory, but some milsims instead of tourniquets they do ace bandages like at least 3 feet. Um, that again is a milsim thing though. So, but I do like tourniquets. I think it's a nice, quick, easy, fun way of replicating that med experience type thing of getting like revved in game type thing. It works for said game mode. But yeah. I mean, for the game mode, absolutely. And like I said, it's another form of revenue stream for the airsoft store of either having their own branded tourniquets or selling somebody else's and still, helping grow the store through sales of some kind. I mean, I got a small handful of tourniquets. I've lost one in the middle of a game, which happens. but they're like 10, $12 a piece. It's whatever. Or I can make them for like, I don't know, somewhere in the realm of like four or $5, maybe tops. If I go expensive stuff. Crazy Jason, good to see you, brother. Welcome to the stream. But yeah, tourniquets in certain game modes, absolutely. But again, that's more niche thing. We're gonna move on from that. Anybody else have any potential across the board rule suggestions? Me personally, I think that one of the rules that I'm definitely going to fight for in the list, and this is my opinion on the whole Joule FPS thing as well. Everything is rated in joules. Everything is rated in joules. Um, it's simpler. It's easier to understand. And it just makes the process so much faster. Also, with a whole lot of people utilizing a variety of BB weights, measuring in joules makes life so much easier. Young one asked, what do I think about limited ammo? Limited ammo. I think limited ammo is great for milsims. Limiting to mid caps, or in certain milsims, they tell you how much ammo you can carry on you. But limiting the amount of BBs on you, I think they're great for milsims. Open play days, whatever. I think, like I said, these are across the. I would think more across the board of open play and these across the board rules instead of specialized stuff. I think the limited ammo thing, again, in game modes, absolutely, but across the board limit the ammo, nah, because then you're gonna also have the issues like with rentals and stuff. Um, like they have limited ammo, yes, but they can always get a refill at the counter or whatnot. Um, but I think limit to game mode, yeah. Or if you just want to try to even the board with rentals, then sure. But that, I think limiting ammo is a subjective rule. That's how I kind of feel about it. It's based on game mode or event specifications. Young one, Ghost agrees. Depends on the game you're playing. Catching up on the Ghost. Jules crossed with Med. Med is also going to be addressed in this. Cutter and I'm pretty sure Ghost, you have Cutter with you. I'm sure he is in your ear. With some of the stuff that I know we have talked about a couple different times. But med for me is a big thing too. I personally think that med needs to be addressed across the board just because I think bang rule is the bang rule is an issue. But also with Joule, it's a lot easier to distinguish med. It really is. Stories, good to see you. Good to see you. Welcome, welcome. But yeah, no. If y'all want my personal opinion on med, 0, no med. Unless uh, I personally think, well, obviously there's exceptions to the med rule on certain things, but rifleman status, no med. Full auto, 10-foot med. Sniper or DMR, 50-foot med. Sniper, 100-foot med. Period. Pistol rifle though, 0 med. Only reason why I give full auto a 10-foot med, trust me, getting peppered that much, which I have had happen multiple times, sucks up close and personal. Mikhail, what you work? What? I agree with Ghost's question. What you mean? um, but yeah, med for me is very simple, bare bones. But for the most part, zero. My job, um, I work for a living. That's all you're getting. um, not a question that I. No, I'm good. I'm here to talk about airsoft stuff, not my life personally. Moving on from that. So, yeah, med I'm pretty stuck on. No. And we're not going to play it, Mikhail, we're not going to play the guessing game and no. Moving on. So, minimum engagement distance, like I said, I'm pretty solid and bare bones on. But let's go across the board. Let's ask you guys. Um, what do you think about minimum engagement distances? I want to hear from y'all. What do you guys think? I want to because I know this rule alone is also one that is also debated um, frequently across the board, from field to field, state to state, game to game. I've heard multiple people's opinions on this, but I would also like to hear more. I really would. Haha, very funny, Jason. Tee hee hee. You're a hilarious comedian. But can we get? And I don't hunt for acorns either. You smartass, you. But anyway, yeah, here within the next couple of weeks, though, I'm gonna get with my co-host Cutter, and I know he's listening. Uh, I know it's a metaphor. I'm giving you shit. But I'm gonna get with Cutter. We're gonna come up with our bullet pointed list. Like I said, we're gonna bullet point this. Of course, depending on the platform, but otherwise, I get close enough. It's I get close enough. It's on you. I agree. I agree. Uh, but at the same time, yeah, platform basis. It's wholeheartedly, and I know there's a delay in the chat and whatnot, so I'm kind of giving these little gaps of ramble so you guys can catch up if you like. Um, but going on, I'm gonna here in the next couple weeks before the episode, Cutter and I are gonna sit down, come up with our bullet pointed list, maybe have our own little debates while we're coming up with this because that's what we do. We talk about stuff and sometimes have differing opinions, but we end up on an agreeing landing point. But yeah, I think this could be an interesting conversation. I really do, and I want more people to talk about it. So I'm going to try to shine some light on said subject instead of just covering one aspect of rule set stuff across the board. Let's cover it all. Ooh, excuse me. Um, but let's tap on this again, everybody. If you want to be a part of the next Council of Airsoft Dudes and be a part of this discussion on the rule set, go ahead, click on the Discord link down below in the description or in the pinned comment and join the Discord. Let me know. Hit me up. We'll pencil you in. Make sure that you get on the council, and we will have a discussion about feelings across the board rules for airsoft. Again, we're going to keep this within the United States because if we get global, it gets complicated. And we're sticking to open play, indoor, outdoor. Just going to be basic bullet pointed rules. Not going to get into every single tiny little itty bitty detail because there is a lot. There really is. But if you can come up with the core tree, everything else kind of just falls into place and common sense. So, again, if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, go ahead, throw up your stuff, throw a Q in front of it. I mean, that way I can see it a little bit better. But yeah, let's hear your opinions on this. What do you guys feel? Do you guys, and honestly, what do you feel about a across the board rule set for airsoft? Open play wise, events, milsim, stuff like that. That's a different beast. They can have their own rules. But what do you guys feel about it? Let's get the discussion going. Kate, good to see you. Good to see you, Kate. Yes, Jason. I agree with that sentiment. Like he said, don't forget to smash that thumbs up button. I guess there's a hype button now, so go ahead and hit the hype button. I guess I'm old man yells at clouds a lot, but I try to keep up with the tech. Yeah. Cage, what do you think? Rule set across the board? Let's hear your opinion. Let's go. Come on, put the spotlight on you, buddy. You just hopped in late. This is what you get. Do you think that a US based open play rule set across the board would be good for airsoft? Lorenzo, good to see you. Welcome. I don't have that button. My knees hurt. I'm old. Italian. Oh, sweet. Welcome. Greetings and salutes. I don't speak Italian. I apologize. Sorry. There should be a minimum. Every other sport has an expected rule set and terms of play. Oh, okay. Nope. I love doing these lives. I really do. If I heard your question correctly. Yes, you did, Cage. A good answer. There should be a minimum. Every other sport has expected rule set and terms of play. Yes. Okay. So you do agree. You essentially say yes, there should be an across the board. Yes. Can I say it again? Yes. But like I was saying, I love doing these lives. And I love it when we get international viewers. I love the interaction from people around the globe. I love talking to everybody. But if you come in and do the troll thing, grr. Thank you, Ghost, for sharing the link. There's another link to the Discord right down there. There's also one that is a pinned comment right there in the chat. There's also one in the Discord or in the description. Yeah, there's also a link in the Discord. So click the link in the Discord to get in the Discord, Discordception, and you'll get there eventually. Like I said, you hang out with other weirdos like me. I'm strange, odd, sometimes, all the time, weird. We like weird. Weird is good. I have a patch on my helmet that I always wear that says "Stay weird." Cross country electronic mass waiver. I'm going to read that out loud one more time. Cross country electronic mass waiver. I don't think you can implement that in the rules, but if that could be implemented as like, that would take a lot of work. But if it was pulled off right, I don't know how trusting of that people would be of a mass database of waiver. I see benefits and downsides of this. That'd be like setting up a whole franchise style or found. Yeah, it would. You would literally have to dedicate an entire tech company to the receipt of that data, holding of that data, and helping the data distribute to all airsoft fields. I don't think the that would be a purely tech-based thing. That would be all digital. Like you said, cross-country electronic mass waiver. Um, the logistics of it, I don't think would be that too bad of a nightmare with where we're at with computer technology nowadays. It's selling the idea to fields because in order to do that, you'd have to make money off of it, which means you'd have to have the fields pay you a subscription fee to allocate that waiver database to their computer systems. So they have access to it so somebody can just show up from some other state and they go, "What's your name?" or whatever, or and then tap 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 tap, and then boom, they can pull up their waiver and they can play at any field anywhere without signing another waiver. I think that one where the logistics get into the nightmare territory, though, where they could, is something that we haven't tapped on yet. Really, with that would be the insurance side of it, because state to state insurance coverage is different for airsoft fields. That's why a lot of rules are different from state to state, field to field, because of insurance reasons. That's where I think the logistic nightmare comes into play. Again, this is also where we hit the hiccup with the blanketed rule system, where a lot of people can just throw that out of, oh, insurance changes state to state. Yes, this is true, but at the same time, there is a common middle ground somewhere. But yeah, the waiver thing, that is where the logistical nightmare comes into play, because the legality that the waiver would have to the legality of the verbiage of that waiver would have to cover and be accepted by every insurance from every state. If you get what I mean? That would be the part that would suck, is getting the initial waiver done. But it also, it would be convincing fields to pay a company that price for that database to be there. That's where I see that. Is it feasible? Yes. Is there problems of it? Oh, there could be. But it is an idea. It is an idea. Rules and waiver would both work together through a field login. By choice only, players could opt in and only sign. Players could opt to only sign a local field waiver. This is Cutter. Yeah, but that's It's a deeper thing. I get it. I get it. But I think we're delving deeper than base bullet pointed rule set. I like the idea, but we're diving a little further. Rein it back just a little bit. Like, you know, things are chronoed in Joule, the Joule limits, rules on full auto, rules on grenades, which we could like summarize in base, do a base simple thing. Essentially, you need to set up a whole legal team and storage system, which is then falling under franchise or league style system. Yes. Not saying that it's a solution or is, but that is where it would end up. League to rule to waiver. Yeah, and I think in this base rule set, we're going to automatically include full seal iPro. That I think is just common sense. And face protection, I still agree. Under 18, full face. It is what it is. And plus, with the popularity of dye masks anyway, most younger kids want to wear them. Boom, boom, boom. What other base rules would I be thinking of? Outside of common sense stuff of like, the safety stuff in the staging areas, that's yeah. We're talking in-game rules though. So, oh yeah, melee. Start a league. People can join a league. League has standard rule set. Those that join the league could also opt to sign mass waiver. Does that make sense? Yes. Does make sense. But again, we're going a little further than just base open play rules. That is a whole nother discussion. We went from here to here. it's, no, it's okay, Ghost. It's okay. Yeah, I like it when you all get excited. I really do. We get really deep, really, really fast with these discussions. But I do want to limit this one mainly because we're going to use it for the Council of Airsoft Dudes later in the month on the 29th at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. But I want to limit it to the base rules just because it's because we share the brain cell cage. But if we get it, just the base rules with this, just because it'll keep it more of a manageable time frame discussion. Because if we get into stuff like this, it's going to be like a 4-hour stream podcast. And like, don't get me wrong, would I like to do that? Yes, but being the fact that we do this on the same night as Talking Tactical, I have to work Thursday morning. I can't do like a 4-hour night discussion. Well, I can, but I have to work early on Thursdays. But anyway, I think tonight we're going to wrap it up for now, everybody. Thank you all for joining me on this episode of Talking Tactical. I hope you guys come up with some really good ideas for this. I want to hear more. Really, please leave comments. Join the Discord. We can carry on this discussion. Solution to that problem, make air. Solution to that problem, make airsoft your full-time job. Cage, I would love to do that, brother, but that also involves a lot more money than I have. Or it requires this channel to explode and a whole lot of support from the community to make that happen. I would love to make this my full-time job. I would love to cover airsoft for a full-time job here on YouTube and traveling around the country playing airsoft, going to events, and doing all that stuff. I would love to do that and do nothing but shake hands and meet and greet and play airsoft. That would be great. But that involves me either winning the lottery or, like I said, this channel exploding and so much support from the community that I'm able to do so. And if that happened, then I'd be able to do the field too. And then we can have another field in the States. But you're welcome, Ghost. Thank you guys for joining. I appreciate every single one of you amazing, beautiful, wonderful people for subscribing, coming and hanging out, commenting, doing all that fun stuff with interactions. Make sure you smash that like button. Subscribe if you're not subscribed already. Become a tree dweller and come hang out. Talk crazy airsoft goodness. Hang out and play some video games on Monday nights. And join us over on the Discord for post-stream discussions and watch parties when we do them. So, like I always say, guys, until next time, never ever forget your battle cry. Nee!